Recording.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are so excited to be back with you today, the HBCU Task Force. I am your host again, Saran Baker, and I'm excited today because guess what? We talked to you last month. We told you about working on getting out of debt if you're already in it. But today we're going to show you how not to even get into debt, because we got an amazing guest with us today who is a master at scholarships. I cannot wait to introduce her to you. But I'm going to introduce everybody. You want to make sure that we're all here. Share this post, share this live. You should see this on your friends page, on several business pages, the American Classic Agency page. This is the American Classic Agency HBCU Task Force. I'm going to introduce our panelists today. Our guest, I'm going to introduce her last because we're going to go right into some questions for her because we really need to get this information from her. So first up, I'm going to introduce to you Mrs. Monique Beidelman. Go ahead, give us a wave, Monique. Monique is originally from Pittsburgh. She is a graduate of Howard University. She was so excited. She was so excited. I'm going to play the HU band today. And she has a bachelor's in hospitality management. But more importantly, she's very passionate about talking to women's groups, churches, colleges, organizations, and civic organizations about budgeting, college planning, getting out of debt, staying out of debt, tax-free retirement. Of course, she's a part of this big, gigantic HBCU task force. In addition to that, she also works for the former United States Secretary of Labor, Alexis Herman. And she's not only does she do all these business things, but she's also a wife and a mother of two beautiful children, and is a proud member of the Women of Excellence and the National Council of Negro Women. Monique lives here in Maryland in Upper Marlboro, and she's excited to serve. Go ahead with your HU shout out.
Thank you, HU. I really wanted to yell it real loud. HU, you know.
I was on mute. I'm sorry. I couldn't even, I was on mute.
I'm gonna do the for you just as a backup because I didn't want to leave you hanging. You gotta have the right response to your call, right?
Appreciate that.
Thank you for joining us again, Monique. From the
Absolutely. Thank you.
Also have with us the amazing marketing extraordinaire woman, Sharice Richards, who is also a financial services business owner, but she's also an author. She's written a book called Faith, Focus, Action, The Journey to Becoming Who You Are. She's been featured in numerous magazines. If I read the list, you'll be like, good gracious, that girl's been everywhere. But she's an ultimate entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, and a serious woman about the money, or as the people who are not in the double 20 say, get in the bag. Get in the bag. But she has a serious list of citations, awards, and recognition, including a Women of Distinction and Leadership Award. Go ahead and wait, and I forgot. She is a graduate of the Bowie State University.
Hey, Bowie State represent.
Look, I'm gonna hit you with it. Hey, Bowie.
Hey, Bowie. I gotta make sure I get that right, but I know Mr. Stewart is gonna come behind me and make it right.
Thank you for joining us again. We're so excited to have you back, a part of an integral part of the task force. And of course, Mr. Stewart, who's the Chief Marketing Officer of American Classic Agency, but also he's the owner of Stewart Financial Services. He's helped thousands of families with protecting their income, getting debt-free, creating a legacy, tax-free retirement, just securing all kinds of things, a disability, securing things when you become too ill to work, making sure you can still finance stuff, not letting an emotional disaster be a financial disaster. That's the thing, right? And this guy has been in the industry for over 20 years. I mean, he's helped so many people. He's a national speaker all over the place and all over the world. But I get to call him my big brother in finance. And because he's wearing that Omega Psi Phi shirt, I'm going to let you know that he's also a member of the Omega Psi Phi. A proud member. But Mr. Stewart, go ahead and bring yourself into the room.
Hey, excited to be here tonight. Get excited.
All right, good. And those of you who met me, I'm your host tonight, Saran Baker. I am the owner and operator of at Covered by Saran. You follow me on Facebook, and I do financial services as well. And this is the thing I've been doing and helping families, organizations, and communities for over 20 years in various aspects, including organization development, tax-free retirement, you name it. And that's where we are. But today, I am excited. I'm going to read her whole bio. I'm not going to summarize it. I'm not going to skip a line. I'm going to make sure you know exactly who this amazing young woman is today. Her name is Amber Quinney. She is professionally known as America's Scholarship Queen, not Maryland's, not New York's, not some other strange state, but America's Scholarship Queen. And she's the epitome of Black girl magic. She is a phenomenal writer, speaker, and her messages have inspired audiences across the world. Her writing has been published internationally in London, and her TEDx talks have soared and reached over 250,000 views. And you know, that's a big thing. The views is a big thing when you're doing these videos, right? But this is our America's Scholarship Queen. She is a former student of Howard University and a graduate of Canisius College in New York, which I happen to know where Canisius College is. But as a scholarships coach, she leverages her marketing expertise and 10 years of scholarship success to train students to win scholarship. Let me say it again, win scholarships, because nobody's just out here handing them out. You have to compete and win scholarships. And while she was in college, Amber earned 6 figures worth of scholarship awards, 8 paid internships, 3 prestigious fellowships across the United States. And now she's frequently asked to speak to colleges, host pageants, and deliver inspirational keynotes. She is currently an executive assistant to the Say Yes Education Foundation in Buffalo. In her role, she supports the executive director and development team in the midst of a $100 million endowment campaign. The endowment secures tuition scholarship for Buffalo students forever. Amber is an inaugural recipient of 3 scholarship awards and a founding member of 3 alumni associations. I'm just trying to keep up with the 2 I joined, not founding them. And she's also a sister, an auntie, a mentor, a founder, and above all, she is a daughter who loves and is led by God. I am proud to introduce to you today, Amber. I just want to bring your voice into the room live onto the Zoom. Say something for us today before we get to our panel discussion.
How do you follow an introduction like that? Like, I don't know that I've ever been introduced like that. Like, I need you to come with me on the road. Like, I no shade to any stage I've ever been on, but thank you so much. And thank you to the HBCU Task Force just for the love and just for the welcome, the warm introduction, and the space that you create. I had the opportunity to sit on the audience end of one of your events, and I left so full of information, inspiration. So thank you for having me. It's my pleasure today to be here. I've been looking forward to this.
I'm so excited to have you. If you want me to go on the road with you, just give me a text. I'll make sure I'll be there if you need me, just for the 5-minute introduction. But we're excited to have you. So we are not going to delay, because I know we're going to have questions. We have quite a few people that are actually on the Zoom, and we have a bunch of you across the country on Facebook. So if you haven't shared it yet, click like, share, because this information, these diamonds we're going to drop today, you need it. If you have kids that you want to go to college, I don't care if you have an infant, you need to start now. Start the planning now. You need to hear this information so it's at least marinating, as they say, you know, when you season it up for a good cookout. You got to have it already planned out so you know what's going on. So before we get started, before we jump right into you, Amber, I want to circle back a little bit because we had a few questions from the last time we had it. And one of them was really like, why? Why are y'all doing this? And so I'm going to throw this question out to Anthony. And that is, because I know this crusade, was kind of birthed in some of the discussions that you were having with in the financial services world and the team. And this was really kind of your brainchild. And we just kind of jumped in when you said, hey, we want you to participate. We want to do this thing. So I really want to know, why did you want to focus on scholarships for this specific portion of the HBCU task force this time?
That's a good question. We've for years, before we really started the ACA HBCU task force, I've just been a big believer in getting any part of free money that we have access to. I know there's millions and millions of dollars that is unclaimed, that's available, but people just have to know about it. And I know that if people can get scholarship money, we don't have to go in as much debt. So, we can help them get out of debt. Don't get me wrong. But, if we can eliminate some of the debt, we just want to be a blessing to the whole community, for those who don't know that certain scholarships are available. So that's why we really want to pivot and get the expert on the call tonight. And so she can show what's available and how to get that free money.
Oh, yeah, I love it. And I'm so excited that she's here. So, and then I just want to ask kind of one more question, as we kind of get here. And, why, to my other financial services folks, and then I'm going to come right to you, Amber, Monique, Sharice, why do you think that the scholarships are so important? And you can go first, Sharice, and then Monique. I'd like to hear, your thoughts.
Scholarships are key, right? When you think about the huge burden of the cost of a higher education, right? We know those numbers are staggering, and parents are looking for ways to finance their children's education, right? Because we all want to do well by our children and provide them with that education, right? And so I think it's important for us to be able to be made aware of all the opportunities, the avenues, the vehicles to finance that education, right? I think for so long, parents only knew about, a 529, and that's it. And so I'm excited about, us being in a position to educate and empower parents to make good choices, better choices, more informed choices on how to finance their children's education. And the bottom line is this: scholarships is essentially free money. Like, it's free money. Like, who doesn't want free money? And it's tons of the money out there for our young people, especially our young people that's going to these HBCUs. The resources are there. We just gotta, get the information, do the work, right? And put ourselves in position to get that money. And that's why I'm so excited that Amber is here to dispel the myths that only the smart, top of the class type of students can get this money, right? Money is available for many students.
I love it. Monique?
I totally agree. And I'm going to echo Sharice's sentiments. It's free money. Hello, right? Free money. And, with our efforts, it's really a part of our planning process as well, right? So, of course, our mission as the HBCU task force is educating first, right, folks, about student loan debt, and then talking about some non-traditional ways to either get you out of it if you're in it now, and how not to get in as much as possible if you're in the planning process. So, when we're planning for college, scholarships should be top of list. It really should. It's a great way to lessen that student loan debt, and even in some cases take it away completely. So we truly wish we didn't have to talk about student loan debt. I know we're all in agreement with that, but the reality is that it's real, right? But the more we're educated about everything scholarships, maybe we can get to a point, where we're talking less about student loan debt. But I know for sure, and I know Amber is going to get into this some, I know for sure it takes some focus, it takes some commitment on the part of the parent as well as the student, which is why I'm so excited to have our scholarship queen here to delve into a little deeper in hopes of helping students graduate completely debt-free. That's
Yeah,
our
I
goal.
love it. I love it. And so I really want to just try to buy some time, make sure we're sharing it, because once, Amber starts talking, you don't want to miss these nuggets. So Amber, I'm going to pull you right in here. Talk to me. Um, I'm really curious about the six figures of scholarships that you earned, and what drove you to even start that process when you were getting ready to go to college. And because obviously the scholarships are important, right? Which we just discussed. But what drove you to the level of research and work that you did to start earning and winning those scholarships?
Yeah. So when I started college at Howard University, I didn't come in on a scholarship. And there's this myth. I was actually, it's so more common than I thought. I love listening to parents as really listening to their needs and their challenges around supporting their young adults. And so I've always been, and I'm proud to say this, I say it humbly, like an academic all-star, an A student. Like I loved school. School was my sport, And there was this idea, like, you'll get a scholarship to school, no savings or anything, like, but you'll get a scholarship to school. Your grades are great. You're president of your class. You graduated top 10. You have a package. Your package is the ideal package, to receive a full ride. And that didn't happen. And so for me, scholarship was the way that I was going to be able to get to go to college, right? Like you apply to your dream school, you get in, but you don't get a scholarship. So what do? And I just believe that I deserve to go where I desire. I deserve to go to the best school that are positioning me to be prepared for my purpose in the world. And I wanted to go to Howard. I believe I deserve to go to Howard. And so I set out on my search, and I really took advantage of the private scholarship market. One thing that a lot of families don't know is outside of colleges and institutions offering scholarships, there is an entire, what I'm calling a private market, meaning a place where scholarships are provided. So companies like getting too excited and running ahead of myself. And keep me, if I go on a tangent, keep me on the agenda. But, Fortune 500 companies and civic organizations, Greek letter organizations, just like the organizations that are represented here. I actually did earn a scholarship from the ACA. So thank you, ma'am. But there is an entire private scholarship market. So if your child isn't offered a scholarship, or maybe they don't get the full scholarship, they may get a tuition scholarship or a half scholarship or a book scholarship. But there are, as Mr. Stewart said, there are millions of dollars. I mean, money on the table. And so much of it goes unawarded because either students don't know, or frankly, students aren't applying. So now we have this campaign around, we have to motivate our students to apply for this resource that is readily available. But to circle back to your question, scholarships became my hustle. It became my hustle, and I was hungry. I had an appetite for what I knew I deserved. I wanted to go to college. Imagine being in school since you were 3, and then you someone tells you you can't go to school because you don't have the money to pay it. That doesn't make sense to a student like me. And so my degree, I went to 2 private schools, cost me $164,000.
Wow.
If it was not for scholarships, I would be $164,000 in debt. All that to say, I knew that scholarships was my way through college. It was the only way that I was going to be able to have a college degree. And so that was my hunger. No one, that was it. That was the driving reason why.
Well, you know what? Thank you for that answer, because I want to put a pin in what you just said. You said you went to school, you got 2 degrees, and you would have had $164,000 in student loan debt. Now, it wouldn't be too far-fetched for me to say that some of our viewers today may have $100,000 in student loan debt, or their kids may be on track for $100,000 in student loan debt. Because if you get 2 degrees and don't get that third one with that DR in front of it, you're looking at $200,000 or $300,000 in student loan debt. And so, again, the scholarship piece is so important for us to be talking about. So let's talk about what can parents do to help their young children graduate debt free. Amber.
Yeah.
Like how do I, as a parent, right? I have a let's say we'll say I didn't wait until they were 18. Let's say I have a ninth grader and I know they want to go to college. You know, my kid is showing great progress. They're definitely going to be college material. They want to go to college. I'm looking at my savings. I'm looking at, you know, the plans that I've put in place, which may or may not be sufficient. And now I'm wondering, how am I going to get little Johnny or little Susie into college and not drain my retirement fund?
Great question. And I want to clarify for the audience. So my one degree at 2 private schools. So I went from Howard to Canisius, cost me $164,000. 2 degrees add to that, but my one degree.
Okay,
so,
1 degree. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
That's expensive.
Yeah. And the cost of tuition continues to go up. When I was in college, my tuition went up twice, 2%. It did. So I love this question around, you know, what can families do? There are a few things, and I'm organizing my thoughts here. I have 4 thoughts. The first is really surrounding our young people with affirmation and accountability. I definitely think that we have to make a case for why college, just kind of in the age that we're living in, and just the images and the messaging around success and your future and how to attain that our young people are seeing. But then those of us who know, you know, kind of just in the world of, you know, life, what is required and what is expected to make a living for yourself, to build wealth. I think there just has to be, you know, a case for why college. And so I kind of wanted to open with that, like the value of a college education, right? The value of, I like to say that the value of a college degree is a generational barrier breaker, barrier breaker. I mean,
I like that.
Yeah, a generational barrier breaker. There are parents on the line right now who have college degrees and degrees and degrees and letters after their names. And I mean, just by way of example, I'd be willing to think they could understand, because they made that self-investment. Because they made that self-investment as a young adult, their children and probably grandchildren have a different life than they did. Like, they have access to resource and ability to build wealth in a way that maybe they didn't growing up,
right.
But it's because of a decision they made, right? And so the value, I can't say that enough, the value of a college education. So there's that, you know, just in case your child is wondering, like, I mean, should I could do this, I could do that. I'm a proponent of higher education and totally a fan of HBCUs. So to kind of go into that second point around just surrounding our young people with affirmation and accountability, like, you are college material, you are scholarship material. The myth was raised earlier that there's this idea that only the great guru or like the 4.0 A+ kid gets the scholarship. Is the furthest thing from the truth. So as a scholarship ambassador, I like to think of myself as a scholarship ambassador. I love to teach about just the diversity of scholarship that exists, right? So not just merit-based scholarships. In other words, scholarships that are criteria based on your grade point average, but there are so many more. There are need-based scholarships, scholarships specifically where the requirement is for you to have a need. And I love to share that I earned a need-based scholarship for $25,000 twice. A need-based scholarship, right? So there's so many more types of scholarships other than, you know, the ones where you have to have a 3.8. There are career specific scholarships, right? So if you want to be an engineer, you want to be an astronaut, you want to be a business owner, you want to be a pharmacist, there are scholarships that are specifically attached to or established for students in those majors. There are debt relief scholarships. Believe it or not, I earned one of them. One of my peers at Howard earned one that paid $29,000 off in her student loans. So again, just there is a round diversity of scholarships, not just, again, merit-based scholarships. I think we're all familiar with athletic scholarships. So so there's the affirmation, but just really awareness also. Asking questions, showing up to events like this, and I'm getting excited. What was the third point or the fourth point? It was really, accountability. Yeah. Oh, accountability is really, really important. Really, really important. So women, and since we're in, you know, this is our space, Black women in particular, we go to college and graduate at a rate further than our brothers, than our Black men. And I was speaking with a parent recently who asked, like, how can I motivate my son? And I love that question. I think just really surrounding our young people with accountability to help them in their process. And that could look like a lot of things. It could look like you tapping into your network, you know, at your place of work. Hey, do we offer scholarships for young people? Right? Really tapping into your network professionally, personally. We have family networks, we have community networks, social networks. I mean, asking and really seeking out and just having an eye for it. I think that that is just so supportive to the young person, but then also letting them know, like, hey, you have to have skin in the game too. You have to have skin in the game too. Like, your mom is not writing your scholarship essays. Or at least I wouldn't advise that.
I hope
that.
not.
Right?
Some
I would hope not.
Some do.
And
now it's
do.
funny because let me interrupt real quick, because
Yeah.
one of the things you mentioned, the boys, and I know, even though I'm in my double 20s, there were a lot of guys I went to school with. They said I went to school because that's where the girls went. They're like, all the girls in the neighborhood left and they went to college, so I went. I didn't even know where I was going. I just signed up because that's where they went. Now, look, you see Mr. Stewart smiling. But so, and sometimes it's, you know, it's finding what they love and what they want to do, what's going to motivate them to get there. And then a lot of the guys are like, oh, once I got here, I realized, oh, I need to be here. Let me get to this class. Let me get this paper turned in. Let me pass this. Let me, let me get this internship. Let me do what I need to do. And it's a sad reality. I mean, and I know many of us, we had the benefit of something like A Different World, where we saw college all day, every day, and that's what we wanted to do. And I know these days they have Grownish, which, the young people are watching, where, she went off to college. And the thing is that it gets to be challenging to even motivate young people to go to school, because the world is now promoting overnight success, right? And so when we think about it in terms of, oh, you know what, I could just post one video. If I become famous, I don't ever have to work again, right? Well, what happens when it runs out? What are you gonna do then? And the thing is, really, making the case, not just for the scholarship, but making the case for higher education, because the higher education is there for us to learn how to think and be. And if you're able to be on campus, which unfortunately a lot of our students weren't last year, it's the living skills. I see them posting about adulting. I'm like, adulting, that's a new thing. I'm like, I've been adulting since I was 16. What are we talking about here? But I want to take what you're saying here and I want to flip it over to one of our financial gurus here. And one of the things that I often hear, and so I want to ask, what are my options out when we have the scholarship? Well, how can I start planning now? I have a kindergartner. How can I start planning for college? Are there alternatives to, we have the 529, but what else can I do in addition to 529? Sharice, are you still there? I was going to ask you that, but I can ask Monique if you're not there. Give me some options for the 529, other than some alternatives for the 529. Are you on mute? I think you're on mute, Monique. Go ahead.
Oh,
No, you're on mute. You can, you got to click it again.
can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. I love this conversation because we get so focused on 529 plans, right? We are so driven by 529 plans. That's what we've been taught. That's what we've been educated about. But there are, and I encourage people to really think outside of the box, because there are several different types of non-traditional plans that will help people in regards to, getting your child into school, financing for your college education. I don't want to go specifically into specifics of it, but that's what our mission is about, right? It's to educate folks about these non-traditional ways in regards to financing your education, planning, and I encourage people, start when your child is in kindergarten, right? We don't want to wait until your child is in the 11th grade to start planning for their college pathway. So we have to start when they're babies, right? And there's nothing necessarily wrong with the 529 plan, but there are stipulations and restrictions in regards to it. Oh my God, what if, God forbid, and I'm a true, obviously, advocate of going to college, but God forbid, what if my child doesn't go to college? You know, what if they go to a trade school or get a job or go down another pathway? What happens to all of my money that's in the 529 plan, right? So those are questions that we have to ask ourselves. So we've got to be open to some other ways of financing our education when it comes to college. So, you know, 529 again, they're okay, but there's other ways to do it as well. And I just encourage folks to reach out and get those ways, and let's diversify a little bit.
Right.
Right.
Right. And so I love that. I love that approach, Monique, because there's so many things that, you know, you just haven't heard about. And it's funny, I was talking to a lady on a plane on the way here, and she was like, I never heard of what you just told me.
Yeah.
You know, what are you talking about? I never thought to, you know, look at my finances this way. And one of the things that I find in talking to clients and doing workshops and all kinds of things is that we have to remember one thing. Some of the things that are passed down to us from our parents and grandparents is what our parents and grandparents knew to pass down to us. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it wrong. It makes it the information they had to share with us. Yeah, and so what we're doing now is we're trying to re-educate parents and grandparents, you know, and so that they can provide a different education for for our young people, so they're better equipped. You know, I had this conversation, you know, with my dad. I said, Dad, you didn't teach me how to become an entrepreneur and become a business owner, but that wasn't right or wrong. It wasn't the path that he had been given. It wasn't what had made him successful. And so we have to reteach ourselves as parents and grandparents how to open up these avenues and show our kids that there's more than one option.
That's right.
And I'm going to bring you back in here, Amber, you know, because unfortunately in the African-American community, we still have students who will be applying to college who may be first generation, right? And what can those parents who may not have that experience of going to college or planning for college or doing anything, what can those parents and families of our next group of first generation college students do to support them, you know, in this scholarship or in this planning to get into college? Like, what kind of things can they help them do so that they can come into this college experience ready to roll?
2 words: go together. Go together. So many of our young people, and I think it's an incredible thing to be the first person in your entire bloodline. It's honorable, but what a burden too. I think that I like to think that when a child goes off to college for the first time, the family goes off to college for the first time. And so many of our young people go off alone, maybe not physically, like, you know, you drive down to school and you get the dorm room set up and you take the pictures and you're there for the experience, because it's an experience. It truly is. But it's an experience for the next 4 or 5 or so years. And it's the maneuvering through, and so I would say go together, because that is how your child is going to go far. Like that African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, right, go together. And so, you know, go together. So tangibly, what does that look like? Just being there the entire step of the way, and again, going off with that child. So kind of understanding the entire makeup of college education. And so, you know, I did one of my last projects in senior year was studying the experience of first-time students. And what data showed was that so college in America, right? Mainstream college, it really, the experience is like ideal to the lifestyle of a middle-class American. And so many of our first generation college students are, and come from economically disadvantaged backgrounds, or, you know, low income background or undereducated backgrounds, you know, and that is okay. But now they are coming into this different realm of world where it's really like independent. You can study what you want, you can be what you want, whereas they came from an interdependent lifestyle. All the family living in one house, multiple generations, we wash each other hand and back. It's a different, mentally, it's a different place. Right. It's a different world, right? Pun intended. And it's kind of like, you know, what Malcolm X even talked about in a different context, but just this dual existence. It really is. And I'm speaking from experience. And so I say this to say tangibly, like, what can you do when I say go together? Really begin to understand the experience and the world that you are now stepping into. And so I think about when I hear students say, like, you know, like my mom keeps calling me, asking me for money, and I don't know what to say because I'm a college kid. I don't have it. So like, just not understanding that, just kind of the space that your young adult is in. Maybe before you were used to them, you know, being a contributor in the household, but just really the sacrifice that is necessary for all of us as a family, as a unit, to get through this. Because again, the value of a college education, it is a generational barrier breaker. So it's not just that person who has a degree on the wall, like a pattern was just broken. And so, you know, I hope that resonates with families in the audience. Really go together. It's an honorable thing, but no child should go off to college alone. And I mean that emotionally. I mean that mentally, spiritually, not just, you know, the physically. So really just stepping into that space with your child, because believe me, if you're a first generation family going to college, it is different from the lifestyle you come to. The culture is different. The language is different. It's just a different world.
Right, right. And I like that, you know, and when you first said go together, when you first started it, and I don't know how this hit for you, Monique and Anthony, when you said that, I thought, oh, so I should sign up for classes too.
Right.
That was the first thing I thought. Like,
I didn't think that part.
Anthony knew what she was
heard
talking
go
about. Me
together.
and you didn't know. We didn't understand.
I knew exactly what she was talking about, and it is an emotional thing. It really is.
yeah.
It's different. It's different. I'll say at least. You know, my situation was probably a little different from most people. I was the 9th child in my family to go to college, so it was just a way of life. You know what I mean? And you know, I just remember that Sunday, my parents took me to Bowie and, you know, and dropped me off and all that stuff. But, you know, I was kind of used to it because I saw everybody else do it. So it was different, you know what I mean? But something Monique talked about earlier, when we start thinking about the non-traditional ways of planning for college, we don't have to wait till the child is born. If you get married at 27 and you plan to have children, you can start planning college before the child is born, the non-traditional way. So you got more time now.
Right.
And you don't have to pay as much money or invest as much money. See, time is the key.
Time
So
is
if I get married at 27, I need to start planning college now if I plan to have children, the non-traditional way.
Right.
And so, you know, but anyway,
I love
can
it.
go on and on about that, but that's a major advantage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you do it that way.
Well, and I want to tie back to what you said. So you were the 9th child. I was the first in my family.
Okay.
And when I went, it was just kind of like, all right, you need stuff. Yeah, I need stuff. You know, I packed up my whole house because I knew I was never coming back home. I thought you go to college and you never come back. And then Thanksgiving came and everybody was like, oh, we're going home for Thanksgiving. I was like, we go home? I was like, oh, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. It was just, you know, it just didn't know. I didn't know, you know, because I went. And when I got to college, it was so many things. I was like, I don't even know. Like I couldn't, and when I called to talk to my family at home, they didn't have any idea what I was talking about. And so I was kind of like, you know, Amber said, out there figuring it out. And then I became the one to help everybody else go to college and to help everybody understand what they need to do. It's like, just call Saran. She'll show up with you on campus. She'll take you through the process of getting set up. She'll tell you, she has the list, you know, kind of thing. And so the pressure became mine. And so as we kind of wade through understanding all this, the important thing, and I love to go together though, but I do see a lot of parents are now graduating with their kids because they did actually go to college together. They went locally and their kids went off to have the whole college experience, right?
Can I just add that there is no shame in that either, like first generation or this or that, like it's definitely a heavy sort of crown, if you will, even to hold, or but it's no shame in that. And I just want to just send love and thanks and gratitude to all of the parents who are on the line. If your child is first generation or not, they are where they are because of you. They are not who they are without you. And that is just that. Like they are where they are because of you. So it's such an honorable moment. And it is the fruit of your investment, your time into their life, your nurturing, you're providing for them, all of that. And so again, I love the going together because it really is a generational.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And so the thing I know that a lot of parents are going to ask, because I'm not looking at the Facebook live feed questions, and you can post questions in there. I'll figure out how to look at it while I talk to you. But if you're on the Zoom, you can put your question in the chat. But the thing is, you know, America's Scholarship Queen, you speak publicly, you do all that, you do the coaching. And so parents really want to know, you know, how do you help them in the coaching process for scholarships? And I know you mentioned something about a scholarship club coming along soon too. So tell us about that.
Yes, thank you so much. I love the work that I get to do. If you had asked me when I started college, what are you doing with your life after school? I'm like, oh, I'm being a lawyer. And I'm not a lawyer. I am a scholarship coach. And this role is literally the steps in my story led me here. So it's so humbling. There were times where I wouldn't be able to sit on a panel like this because I couldn't tell stories without breaking into tears. So I am intrinsically connected to this work. And I know that my story is the story of so many students around the world. And so what I do professionally as a scholarship coach is I train students on how to win scholarships. So the point was made earlier about how, you know, no one's just making it rain out of the sky, giving out free money. Like you have to apply and apply yourself. And so just this service, support service around teaching students how to compete, not just find scholarships, but actually compete and win. Like, how do I stand out above, you know, all the other candidates? How do I package and, you know, position, pitch my story in a way that makes scholarship providers want to invest in me, that makes someone pull out their wallet when they see my application? So that's my specialty. And I love this because I bring a unique flavor, I would say, and a different formula to the world of scholarships. And I'll explain that. Professionals who work in the space of scholarship support or around that, helping students with scholarships, they typically come from a financial aid background or financial services background. It really makes sense. Like they're brilliant, you know, at what they do. And that's just not my story. Again, I have a marketing degree and 10 years experience competing in the scholarship market, first as an applicant, then as a serial winner, then as a person who sits on scholarship panels and evaluates candidates and applications, a scholarship donor. I'm proud to say as of 2020, I'm officially a scholarship donor and now professionally as a coach. And so my formula, right, is different. My approach is different because one, I'm coaching students. Again, most people come from a financial world, so they're consulting parents, like, how do you save money? And we're talking about finance in college, which is incredible. But my competitive advantage is teaching students how to communicate their value. So I'm teaching them how to market themselves so they can win scholarships. And that is a transferable skill because along with 6 figures in scholarships came 8 paid internships, 9, but 8 were paid, and then 3 fellowships, highly competitive fellowships around the US. And so it's a transferable skill. So that is what I do. Pre-pandemic, my business model was pretty much, I would go to colleges, they would hire me to facilitate live workshops. And before I knew it, I was on a scholarship tour and it was great. And then the pandemic happened. And, you know, I saw how it impacted families financially, economically, resource-wise. And it really inspired me to just reimagine what could scholarship coaching look like and repackage my service into an offering that's affordable for working class families, middle class families, because not every family can hire a coach for $5,000 and have the mind and understand that this is an investment. You know, I invest $5,000 in hiring a coach, but my kid's going to turn around and win 25, 30, 40 grand. And especially in today's world, like that's just not, there's some parents, but that's not every parent. And so just really having the heart to want to make this service available to students. And so, as you mentioned, Saran, right? So the idea of a scholarship club was born. So this summer, actually, the Legendary Scholars Club is launching. We're doing all the behind the scenes work and working on the logistics, but What it is, and this is totally new. And so it's this all new, because I said, this doesn't exist. Where is the community for the scholarship applicants? Where is the community for the scholarship achievers? This is the scholarship winners circle. Like, if you are applying for scholarships, you should have a scholarship buddy. Who's your accountability partner? Who's your mentor? Where's the community? And so my scholarship club, I'm getting excited.
I love it. Keep bringing this up. I'm about to sign up, and I already got my 2 degrees.
Oh, I love this. I love this because it's bigger than me. I'm very clear that being scholarship queen is what I do. It's not who I am, right? And so this is bigger than me. It's a club. So what it is an online club. It's a membership, right? So it's a subscription-based membership community where we are turning applicants into highly competitive scholarship achievers. Turning applicants into highly competitive achievers. Okay. And so I guess the way it's an online platform where we host it, but I guess to make it familiar to people, it's kind of like being in a Facebook group, but like the most popping Facebook group you've ever been in, that's my club. And so I love this. So again, just repackaging the service. So what I used to do, I found a way to package it in a way that's affordable. $25 a month. $25 a month. So we have an entire program, super exciting, monthly master classes around scholarship training. We'll do hot seats, so accountability, hot seat scholarship buddies and mentors. Also, of course, the daily affirmation, encouragement, and just really the mentorship to walk students through the process. So yes, I'm very excited that is what I do professionally. And again, I think I finally figured out a way to make this something that's easily accessible. Because what's the point of being able to be a scholarship coach if I can't help the students who are just like me? I didn't have a scholarship coach.
Right.
I didn't.
Right. And those who really, really do need it, because sometimes we do have families who can do the one-on-one coaching and they can afford it. And then we have that stellar student who may not be able to. We do have one question.
Okay.
In the chat. And this is from Mr. Banks. He has someone he's working with that has a student who is going to graduate next year. She's got it looks like a partial scholarship for the school, but she's looking for more scholarships, and she's kind of getting frustrated with the process. And they want some help. She's looking for some help to get on the track to get the remaining scholarships to be able to attend school full time. I believe it looks like the college is in Chicago. So what kind of advice would you give a parent like that? It sounds like it's an 11th grader going into 12th, getting ready to graduate next year, and already has some scholarships, but obviously sounds like they need more to finish school. What would you tell this young lady?
Yes, thank you for raising the question. So, and thank you for clarifying that it's an 11th grader, because that definitely matters where the student is in their college matriculation process. So I would say this is something that I didn't know when I was his or her age, or even going through college. And this is something my family and I didn't do. You can negotiate your financial aid package. I like to think that everything is negotiable. And I'll be honest, that's not my expertise. I just told you, I coach kids on how to win scholarships. I don't come from a, so I'm not telling you that's my expertise or what to say or how to do that, but I'm letting you know that that is an option. That is an opportunity. So you can negotiate your financial aid package. And I would start there. I would see what is being offered, what is available, right? Because you can go to the college's website and see what they're offering versus what they're offering you. And I think that could be a first step. Because he or she is in 11th grade, I think that is a really prime place to be. So, and I'm packaging this in like a real quick, succinct answer, but I do an entire training on finding scholarships. And really the big takeaway is building a scholarship network around you. Of course, I can tell you, go to fastweb.com, go to kpex.com, go and download Scholly, the app. Scholly is great. I think it's $7.99. There is a cost to it, but it's basically a database where you put in information about you, and then it outputs scholarships all over the world that you are eligible for, so it helps you answer the question of finding scholarships. But again, I didn't have a Scholly. I didn't have an app that allowed me to do that. But what I was able to do was build a scholarship network around me, and to the point where, people would ask, how do you find scholarships? And I would tell them, I don't have to find them. They find me. Why? Because I've done the work of building the relationships, and I've created this scholarship brand, if you will, where anytime a scholarship comes across someone's desk, Amber is the first name that comes to mind, whether it's the guidance counselor or my godmother or whoever. And so at 11th grade, I would say, I'll just summarize these 3 levels that I often teach. There's this basic level of finding scholarships. And that is exactly where it sounds like. Start where you are. So many people run to Google, type in scholarships, get overwhelmed so quick. But did you talk to the financial aid office? Did you talk to your guidance counselor? Like, and not just talk, but do you have a relationship with them? Like, are you in relationship? Your academic advisor, resources on campus. I sat in the local library. Now, people probably don't have to do that these days, but I opened scholarship books and flipped around. And so again, just covering the basics, community newspapers, like just the basics, what is readily available to you. And so if you feel like, okay, Amber, I've done all that. What else? Because I need more money. So then I would say, then there's another level called the active search, right? So now you're actively seeking out scholarships, right? In the work that you're doing, but just really attracting these opportunities towards you. You notice the more you talk about scholarship, the more you start kind of seeing billboard and then a poster over here. Somebody got a t-shirt that says scholarship. So what the active search looks like, this is really important. And I'm looking at time. So I'm going to wrap this point out. There's one more level after this, but this one is really important because there's a shift that happens in the mind when you go from this basic searching for scholarships, like, okay, I did the basics, what more, to the active search. And that shift is this. You go from thinking and asking, where can I find scholarships, to who has money and who would love to invest in a student like Amber, Monique, Saran. There's a shift that happens. Like it's kind of like you ask empowering questions and you get empowering answers, or you ask limited questions and you get limited answers. Where can I find scholarships? The website, the guidance counselor, so it's kind of basic. But when you go up a level, you start thinking different and the game changes. When you start thinking, who has funding and who would love to invest in someone like me? Wow, the church has fundings. They collect offering every week. I wonder if they offer scholarships. Community foundations, Fortune 500 companies, these are billion-dollar companies. I wonder if they offer scholarships. Alumni associations, professional-based organizations, National Black MBA Association, the one for the engineers and the accountants, extracurriculars. Now I'm just spewing out places where you can find. So,
I love it.
Parents, employers. I remember we didn't even know that my mom's previous employer, they have a union that offers scholarships for employees' kids. If you don't ask, you don't know. Business community, banks. And then lastly, I would say subscribing to people's email lists. Get on email lists. So like if the task force has an email list, Scholarship Queen, opening emails is how it's a lot of money in these emails. I'll just say that. And then I'll just go on and say lastly, so it's levels to it is what I'm saying. When someone asks, how can I find scholarships? It's levels to it. What are you willing to do? And these are all the places are named are legit places that I have earned scholarships from or my students. So it's not just ideas, but it's real. And the last one I would say is, so there's the basic search, the active search, and then is really the routine search, right? So this is where you're at the level where scholarships is what you do. I told you scholarships was my hustle. It was how I was going to graduate college. And so what that really just looks like is having a routine. You may be setting SMART goals like, okay, I know I need to earn $3,000 this semester. So let me find $3,000 worth of scholarships I could apply to, and let me get them on my calendar, their deadlines. Like you have a strategic plan. You may have allocate in your week 2 hours a week towards scholarships, just really maintaining a portfolio. So when opportunities come your way, because that's the other thing, somebody say, hey, this scholarship is due in 2 days. I just learned about it here. What do? You have to stay ready. So overall, I just summarized the basic, the active, and the routine. And if you think about it as an acronym, BAR, I like to think that excellence is always raising the bar for yourself. So just know that if you start at basic and continue to put in the work and just raise your level of what you're willing to put into it for this degree, please believe that opportunities will be chasing you down. Mark my words, they will be chasing you down. So I hope that answers your question. I know that was a long one.
Oh my God. That was a bunch of diamonds dropped in 5 minutes. I'm going to try to summarize them. Listen, first of all, you got to always be ready. That's what she's saying. So basically start working on your essay right now. Start pulling all your paperwork together. Order you a few transcripts if you need them. Have that stuff on hand. And I like when you said, you said start where you are, and then, actively search the levels that you had, and then just broaden it. Who has money? And it's funny because I've served in a lot of different capacities, and I've worked in some organizations where we did award scholarships. And sometimes in some places, in a couple of different things, even my alumni association, it's like, well, we got to find some people to apply for this scholarship. And you think, why do I have to go and find somebody to apply for me to give you free money? The strangest places you haven't thought of, they issue scholarships. Elected officials offer scholarships. I didn't hear you mention this. So I wanted to throw that in there. A lot of elected officials in many jurisdictions offer scholarships, be it just a book scholarship or not. And they typically award it to those who live in their district.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's at every level, local all the way to national. It doesn't stop. Almost every organization that has community service in their mission somewhere is probably giving away scholarship money.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure we, circle that back. And then I want to kind of bring us into one big package, right? The big thing here for us to understand is, one, we got to make the case to get our kids into college, into higher education, to have them want to have that drive to go. For some to continue the legacy of college education in their family, and for some to use your words, Amber, to become that generational barrier breaker in their families, to create that space for different success. And in our business and finance, when we work with people, we teach them about generational wealth. Well, guess what? It's just not about the dollars. Sometimes it's about having the education to even understand what somebody like someone on the HBCU task force is going to talk to you about when we start talking dollars and cents, right? And having that. And then be ready. Be always ready. I can't quote the scripture, but there's one that says be ready. All right.
Bishop Bideman knows that scripture.
Right.
Probably in the Proverbs.
It's probably in the big book, right? Proverbs, right? But be ready. And, to what you said, the affirmations, I love that you put in there the important piece of staying motivated, because when you're on the search, everything you just explained sounded like searching for a job. It sounded like starting a business. It sounded like, creating something new. It sounded like starting to build a house. It sounded like almost everything we need to do when we want to do something big in our lives, dedicating ourselves to it, right? Dedicating that time to, even if you said 2 hours a week, an hour a day. If on Monday I'm searching for stuff, on Tuesday I'm filling out the forms, on Friday I'm gonna just bang out these scholarships, and then Saturday and Sunday maybe I'll hang out. But putting a schedule together, that sounded really, really important. As far as scholarships, because we really have to be involved, right? And this is not, and I'm gonna just say this, is not your job, mom and dad, to do the work.
I'm going to second that emotion.
I'm going to third it. I'm on a third it. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah,
And
it is. Well, no, not really, but
I always ask, like, where does it stop? If you write this scholarship essay, so then, she calls you freshman year, first semester. I got 3 papers due and 2 exams. Like, can you, like, where does it stop? Because now at that point, you violate an academic policy and you can get kicked out of college. Like, it's unethical. And I'm saying that professionally, but just even like understanding you want to support your young person, but supporting them looks like letting them learn it themselves. Like, that's a part of the experience, time management and learning how to, manage a load. But I just say, like, if you do that, because you're like, it's just helping with the scholarship. Where does it stop? Where does it stop?
It doesn't sometimes. And that's why I wanted to say that. And you can tell your young people that Saran Tanae Baker on Facebook Live said that you cannot write their scholarship essays, fill out their scholarship applications. You may purchase the postal stamps to mail them if they require mailing. You may make sure they have internet access. You may give them your card to pay for whatever needs to be paid to do it. But we have to empower our young people to do these things for themselves. Because are you going to apply for their job when it's time? Are you going to apply for their promotion? Are you going to fill out all the paperwork when they decide to start a business? what else? Like Amber said, where does it stop? And so we want you, and I have parents in the chat and I have people texting me, what should I do? You need to stop doing and start showing them the steps they need to take to be a part of this scholarship process so that they can go forward. And I see someone saying, and yes, parents will need to you need to be present to fill out the FAFSA because they need all your information, but to be there. Now, I want to make sure I did drop it in the chat a couple of different places. I hope I did it right. Don't judge me. I dropped Amber's contact information. So if you want to get in touch with her, you want to find out more about getting on the scholarship club, get on her mailing list so she can get in touch with you and get you involved. This is your first step. This is a door opener, right? And so as your HBCU task force, we're trying to bring to you these educational pieces so that you can be empowered in all areas of your finances. Monique, go ahead, drop how they can get in contact with you as well.
Absolutely. I just want to add, I'm just so grateful to you, Amber, for being on here. You have dropped so many gems and diamonds, as Saran said, that we truly appreciate. I wish I had you a couple of years ago. My daughter is going into her sophomore year in college, and I was the scholarship queen, but not. But not. But by the grace of God, all of her education has been paid through scholarships. We thought that she had the 3.7, 3.8 grade point average. We thought it was done, but it wasn't done. And unfortunately, we need it, but on paper, it said we didn't need. So we had no merit, no need, no nothing. But, scholarships work, you guys. She got state scholarships. She got scholarships from the delegates in Maryland. She got private institution scholarships. She got scholarships from her college. So it's important, but it's time consuming, So I encourage everyone to reach out to Amber if you need help with that. And then the parts that weren't paid for my daughter, I was able to finance through these non-traditional methods that we're teaching, we're educating about. So I just think it's a perfect partner with scholarships, with financing non-traditional methods. You all, it works. We do not have to do loans. There's ways around that. So I encourage everyone, if you need my assistance, if you need my help, please feel free to reach out to me. My website is www.vitalmanassociates.com. Feel free to email me at mvitalman@comcast.net. But I'm here to serve. We're all here to serve. We are truly on a mission to help our college students and our kids and our families. So thank you so much, Amber.
Oh, yes.
Valuable information.
Sharice, I want to bring you in to say some closing remarks and give us let people know how to contact you as well. Sharice. Okay, I'll come back to you.
Can you hear me, Saran?
I can hear you. Go ahead, Sharice. Sharice.
Yes, no, I mean, great conversations. We definitely, I know for me personally, this information about scholarships is so invaluable because it's just another resource, it's another vehicle to finance our kids' education along with what we do. You all know that we have great programs and strategies to help parents plan early so that they can, have the money in place to finance their children's education. So excited to be a part of this conversation, this movement. I can be found all over social media, but also at ShariceRichards.com. So thank you guys for another powerful conversation.
Thank you, Sharice. Mr. Stewart, go ahead. Tell them how to get in contact with you.
Man, this information is invaluable. Thank you so much, Amber, for your wisdom and all the information that you share. But I can be reached at Anthony at StewartFinancialServicesInc.com, or you can just call the office, 301-794-4290. We are here to help you, and especially as it relates to the non-traditional ways of planning for a college education. Yep. So we're here.
All right. And I'll let you know you can follow me on Instagram at Covered by Saran. You can also find me on Facebook in the same place, Covered by Saran, or you can just give me a call. I have my phone number on all those locations, or if you're watching from my personal Facebook page, you probably have my cell phone number. You can call. send us an inbox, but we're here to help you get planned. I did drop Amber's information in the chat. I dropped it on Facebook, but Amber, go ahead. You can verbally give your website information as well.
Yes, so you can visit, pardon me, legendaryscholarsacademy.com, but definitely the link that is in the chat will get you on my email list. And I want you to be the first to know when enrollment for the club is open in a few months. I want you to be the first to know. Okay, we're going to do a scholarship challenge that's free, right? We're going to do a free scholarship challenge. And for those who want to be members, they can hang around. We gonna rock out. We gonna get this money. That's what we are gonna do. So
let's
definitely,
get this money.
Let's get this money.
Let's get this money. We, your HBCU task force, the four of us, we will be back with more exciting guests to drop some more gems. Amber, I cannot thank you enough. I feel like I need to go back to college so I can get some scholarships the way you just told me how to get them. But I don't want to read any more books.
He said you go right ahead.
Wait, let me clarify that. I don't want to read any more textbooks. I read books all the time, but textbooks. But we're so excited to have you, parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, godmommy, goddaddy, those of you, you know, that you want to help your young people. I don't care what age they are now. If they are under 18, you need to get on Amber's email list. You need to go back through this video and capture some of those diamonds and start now where you are. Start the basic part that she talked about and get actively involved in this process so you can get to the point where anybody who has money is thinking about giving your child or your loved one some money so that they can go to school. But we are going to wrap it up. We are so excited, and we will see you next time. We're going to be back. So look for the flyer. We're going to be back with some more gems, some more information, some more, and everything we're going to talk about is going to be about securing the bag.
There you go.
Securing it for you, for your family, for your kids, for your community, for your businesses, for your organization, you name it. We know how to help you to leverage those dollars. Let's stop focusing on our ability to spend money and learn how to leverage money to our advantage. So it works for us, and it can work for one generation more, 2 generations, 3 generations, 4, 5, you name it. But if you don't put a plan in place, then it only will work for you one time. Let's use these dollars wisely, more than one time.
All right.
Have an amazing day. We are out. HBCU Task Force out.
HU.
Thank you.
You know.
Hey, booey.
DSU. I love it. I love it.
HU.
SU. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, everybody. We
Thank you
are
all.
so
Good
back.
evening. All
Thank
right.
you.